Hey, welcome back, Jesse, to the program.
Hey,
There's applause for you right there, man.
glad to be back.
For the people that are watching and listening, Jesse was on, I think, back in February.
Yep.
So he was kind enough to come back and chat about his recent projects. And for those of you who don't know who Jesse is, why don't you do a quick intro about yourself, man?
Yeah, for sure. My name is Frybort. I live in Barrie, Ontario, Canada. I'm going to specify that now because we've had some global guests.
Yeah, I know, right?
So,
I like
yeah,
that.
photographer, aspiring videographer. I started to get into video more
Yeah,
recently. Got a drone, upgraded the camera,
yeah.
and just started to exercise that avenue. But mainly focusing on, I really enjoy landscapes, but I've hopped on a few projects, interior design,
Right.
just kind of like lifestyle shoots. There's some kind of things in between there, but yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it's good that you kind of got your like hands into like different little pockets, eh?
yeah, for sure.
Keeps things kind of fun and fresh.
Keeps things fresh and keeps things challenging too.
Yeah. Which I think is good. No, you don't want to, I don't know. To me, it's like if I keep doing the same thing over and over again, it kind of gets a little bit boring.
It gets boring.
It's like
Yeah,
muscle memory type of thing, right?
yeah. You learn things, and then it's just kind of like, oh, okay. Well, I kind of want to dive into this now. Before you know it, you're like,
Yeah.
okay, what is color grading?
Yeah. Oh my God. I know, right? It just never ends. I like, to me, it's like you need to have fun doing it. Otherwise, like you're not going to do it. Like I was saying last week, like if you're not, if you're not accountable to anything or anyone, if it's not your job or whatever, like if you're not accountable, then if it's not fun for you or for the person or whatever, like it's tough to do it when it's
It's
just you by yourself doing it.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta
Yeah.
get excited about it. I think there's
Yeah.
things that kind of pop up, and then you get excited about, and especially once you start shooting and you look down at your viewfinder, you're just kind of like you look at your screen, you're like, okay,
Yeah.
I can't wait to get these back home.
Well, yeah, I know. Because when you know you have something good, like kind of like the Northern Lights last week, right?
It was pretty crazy. Yeah, it
Phenomenal, right?
was. Yeah.
Crazy, man.
For those who got to shoot it, like all the shots that I've been seeing are spectacular, and it's so cool to see everyone's different kind of
I
shots. And yeah, so
love it. I love
oh yeah, I was
it.
I was in Halliburton again. I seem to be there up there a lot of the time now, and I'm kind of glad that I was. I was kind of just cruising stories, and I came across my friend's story, who is in, I think, Newfoundland. She's in, and you see the Northern Lights, and I'm just kind of like, I have to ask, like, okay, do you see them or to the naked eye, or is like, are you doing like a long exposure here? And
Right,
she
right, right.
said, no, like tonight's the night, and I usually don't see the red. Usually see the green, and the
Yeah.
red is like out. So it's kind of interesting. Like you go out and like I've heard about these geomagnetic storms going on, and people saying we're gonna see them, and I like poke my head out, and I'm like, ready to pass out by like 11:30. So
Sure, sure.
you don't see it. But here I just kind of brought the camera and the tripod down and just waited, and
Yeah.
it came. Yeah.
How long did you wait?
So I think I got down there like maybe like 8:30, which is really early.
Yeah.
It feels like it started really early. Like I always read that you should, like, in between 10 and 12 or something like that is always the best.
Okay.
But I went down at like 8:30, and I wasn't so sure at first. So I just like, before I actually grabbed all my stuff, I just kind of like set my phone up to do like a quick long exposure. And because
Yeah.
I've never seen them before. This is my first time.
Okay.
So I didn't
Okay.
really know what to expect. Um,
Yeah.
and it's weird because it's kind of like a mist or like a fog up in the sky, but it does have a bit of a tint to it. So you're like,
Yeah.
okay, let me just make sure. And I was like, okay, yeah, it's there. So kind of go grab all the gear, grab a few lenses, pod, and go out to the Pebble Beach here and start shooting it. So it's crazy. It kind of intensified more from like 8:30
Mm,
onward. Like
mhm.
I want to say the light show seemed from where I was kind of like peaked at maybe like 10 o'clock, I want to say.
Yeah. Because
And
it
then,
was like everywhere, right? Like US, Canada.
yeah, I mean, the ring went all the way down to like Indianapolis or something like that. Usually doesn't go that far. I started following
Wow.
this guy on TikTok, and he's all up to date on the comets and
Yeah.
so he said there was a good chance at it.
Crazy, man.
Yeah, these shots, it's crazy. We like tie-dye, like, it's like
Crazy.
weird because I didn't know what to expect, what it was gonna be like, and it's almost just kind of like when something's going on down at the Scotiabank Arena, and you see all those lights
Yeah, that's what
shining
it. Yeah, exactly.
and it's shimmering, so this is like
Yeah.
just shooting directly up at it.
Jeez, we're being invaded as we speak.
It was yeah, it was cool. Pretty satisfying, yeah.
Yeah, no doubt, man. So, like, were you like the only person there
I
shooting?
was actually there. I was there with my mother-in-law. I was at
Yeah,
her cottage. I was just kind of working in the area, and she was watching my daughter.
yeah,
So I decided to stay there, and I'm pretty glad that I did because it's a pretty awesome spot to
yeah.
catch the Northern Lights.
Cool. So there's no like other people shooting though.
No, no, it was just me and
Really?
my camera. She stayed for maybe the first 30 minutes, and she
Yeah.
said, "Okay, that's awesome. I'm going up. It's cold."
Yeah.
But I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna wait
Yeah.
it out with cold hands here and
Enjoy your light show.
for the light show." Yeah, yeah.
Oh man.
That one was actually kind of neat because like it was kind of towards the end, so it was kind of got the shot that I already really wanted or felt that I wanted.
Yeah.
And I always just thought that stump was kind of cool, which is right down the beach there. So I actually set that up as a 10-second exposure, but
Right.
shined my light from my phone just on the stump quickly at the
Yeah.
end to
Yeah.
give it a bit more detail. You know that trick. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's all you need. You don't need anything fancy. Just have your phone.
that's right.
Get the
Mhm.
flashlight out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think just having that little bit of foreground just makes it a little bit just
Yeah, that's I
has
you know,
that punch to it, you know?
exactly. I started to see everyone's shots and everyone's stories and stuff like that. And I
Mm,
actually like since going to Scotland, I've
yeah.
been to like shoot wider and wider. So
I want the
including the
whole I want the whole
foreground
country in a shot, yeah.
and that. Yeah. Hmm. Well,
Crazy, man.
yeah.
Wow. What a year for like Astro.
It's been a pretty crazy year for
What a
Astro. It
year.
seems like see, for the people who did not see it, like I feel like another one's coming. So like, just
Is
like
there?
hold on, like I feel like it because we had one back in I think it was like May.
Yeah.
And then there was one that happened. I want to say like it happened like a month ago or a few weeks ago or something like that.
Yeah.
But this one, whatever the rating of the storm was, this was like
Right. It was
intense.
strong.
It
But
was.
didn't it happen like didn't this happen really quickly? Like they just
So
announced
you
it?
know
They just
what?
announced it or something? Like the day
Uh,
before, 2 days before?
Yeah, so the way it works is like I'm no scientist, but there's like a solar flare that the sun gives out and sends some sort of a plasma or something. Don't like quote me, but it sends it down to Earth, and it takes some time for it to get to Earth. So this astronomer that I followed on TikTok, he basically kind of shows how that flare happens.
Yeah.
And thanks, Christian. And it shows how that solar flare happens, and it takes like
Yeah.
a little bit of time to get to us. So that's how they're able to kind of like project, like I think like 2 or 3 days out. Yeah,
Yeah. Crazy.
yeah,
Makes me want to be like a astronaut or something.
yeah. And it's funny because the last time I joined you, I think we were chatting about this is
Yeah.
like the same dock that I
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. The other photo that you're
my
talking about.
Astro shots from. It
This is
seems,
like this is like your shot though. This is like your shot.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I kind of like the Canadian flag in there too.
You need it. You need the Canadian flag in there.
Lets everyone know that we're getting it too over here. It's not just Norway and Iceland.
Yeah. Also, this other cottage, like, it's great they had the lights on for you. Or is that
Yeah,
that your place?
yeah. No, that's like a few doors down actually in the
Man.
distance there. Yeah, this is shot at 30 mils, so like it's not that far. Like there's like a little bit of a bay there, and there's another shot that I posted earlier where it includes kind of the whole stretch and the island as well. I've shot that a few times. It's actually in a different post, but
Yeah.
I've shot that angle a few times, and yeah, it's really cool when you get those lights in the.
This is great.
They're kind of helpful because I had to go manual focus with this.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like, okay, do I manually focus to like a star, or do I kind
Mhm.
of do it like off in the distance with one of the cottages? So I actually
Yeah.
started doing it with the cottages as well and seeing how that turned out.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's just great they had the lights on for you, man.
Oh, I know. That was a Thursday night, so some people got up early for Thanksgiving.
And I guess so, eh?
Yeah.
Cool,
Yeah.
man. So what's like your tip for people that want to get into Astro?
Yeah, the key is long exposure. Tripod's
Yeah.
certainly the way to go. Like set it up. you know, if you're able to kind of shoot your shot and like find a composition. So it was kind of interesting because I knew that it was going on. You could see it to the naked eye above you.
Yeah.
The sky was really bright, like, and it starts to go red and green, all different colors.
Yeah.
And I really like, I started to bump it. I started to bump the camera around because I noticed it started to intensify more and more. So it's kind of like, okay, I want to get my camera set up in a spot, and like, as soon as it's like at its most intense, that's when I want to be in the composition that I want to be in. And then some of these other shots I just kind of like snagged here and there before and after. But it was really cool because like I feel like the peak of it was somewhere around like 10 o'clock because the fog started to rise up from the lake. And the lights were just super, super bright, started going nuts. So it just kind of illuminated that fog right above the lake.
It's like a movie.
I was like, this is perfect.
It's like right out of Stephen King, man.
Yeah, it was very, very cool. And like nothing I've ever experienced before. I've always heard about them. You know?
Yeah. Just great that we had them here all of a sudden. So you don't have to go to like the Yukon or anything crazy like
that. Yeah. Hey, Norway and Iceland are definitely on my bucket list. So
well, look, David, like he's in Scotland, so he's like see, you got them there in Scotland too.
Oh yeah.
Did you see David when you were in Scotland, by the way?
No, I didn't. I did. Perhaps I did. I said hello to a few people.
Yeah.
I did not know. So
exactly. Exactly. No, that's great, man. It turned out great, eh?
Yeah, thanks. It was awesome. Have you seen them before?
Yeah. I've seen them in Iceland before.
In Iceland, okay, yeah. So that's like that is a bucket list for me. And it's like more common over there, I think too.
Yeah, it just you have more of a chance.
Yeah.
Like I went for my birthday, and so it was kind of like a mission for me.
Nice.
That was the only reason why I went. So I went with a buddy over a weekend, and then the day of my birthday, the guy goes, "Oh, this is like the strongest storm it's been in months." I'm like, "Well, today's my birthday." He goes, "Well, happy birthday."
Yeah, because with the cards and stuff, and I was like, "Oh,
yeah, it's cool, man." But let's see here. What 12:30 was the best time for you? Okay, yeah, I think that's what 7:30 here, I guess.
Yeah, it started super early. Like I said, like I just finished dinner. I saw my friends post, and then I started seeing everybody post. Yeah,
he's just north of Edinburgh, David.
Yeah, I was there.
Crazy, man, crazy.
North of Edinburgh, yeah. Edinburgh's a wicked city. I was there from the 9th until I think it was the 17th in Scotland. It was a blast. I went to visit a friend who's from over here, but is living over there right now. He just got married. Super cool. Got married in like this like 14th century castle. This is actually in Fort William, Ben Nevis. This is like it's like the post says, it's just one of those pull over and like take a shot of it.
You got to do it.
It was coming in and out of the clouds. We were in Fort William for like a day. Really cool, like fisherman's town, kind of like cobblestone village. Had like the best fish and chips when I was over there.
Yeah.
So just snagged this one at the bottom of it was like a Marks and Spencer's. For those who don't know, I think it's kind of like a Walmart, but they do food and they also do like other stuff, kind of like Walmart foods, but super, super good food. Like you can get the best hoisin duck wrap like for lunch.
I know, right?
But this was the shot that I was waiting it out for. And you know what? I usually lately I've been trying to include as much foreground as I can. And I usually try and get something underneath the lake. I was happy with the reflection, you know.
Yeah, I dig that.
10-second exposure, like you're getting the fog. You're getting like the fog coming up off of the lake. I kind of split this up into a carousel just so that you can get in a little bit closer and kind of see some of the details, because like you even kind of see a little bit of the fall colors kind of along the tree lines and some of the lit up cottages, but you definitely see the fog start to rise up. So super cool. Yeah,
it just makes your photo different too, right?
Yeah, just wanted to kind of show off that little detail of the fog because I kind of it was funny because you know the lights were like starting to peak and like I was thinking they're going to start to dim. You know, they start to dim a little bit, but then that fog started to come up off the lake just perfectly there. So
You got it. Yeah, you got to use it, man.
Yeah, totally.
100%.
I would really love to have this one printed. I just think that it's like,
Why
holy
not?
smokes, that was photoshopped, and it's like, no, it wasn't.
No.
Like, it was that crazy.
Yeah,
You know?
it's cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks.
to me, it's like, how are you gonna make this shot different from like everyone else? Like, then that's how you kind of do it, right? So,
Yeah. No,
you know,
thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah,
yeah,
everyone's photos were spectacular, and it was
yeah.
so cool because people who don't usually even like post much to their Instagrams, like just
Mm,
taking all these pictures. And
yeah,
I had my cousin text me, and he texted me, says long exposure. I said, yes, we're starting to wear the
got to do it.
terms. Yeah, so just getting people involved, and you know what, I think the biggest winners are for those people, not just who saw them, but who might have like YouTubed, how do I photograph it, and
Oh yeah,
whether they did
huge.
it with their camera or they did it with their phone. So anything
Yeah.
like that. But those are the biggest winners, I think. Yeah.
Oh, totally, man. You just never know when the knowledge is needed.
Oh, exactly. You know,
You
and
just
because it's forecasted a little bit, and I think everyone
Yeah.
comes to that moment to like see each other's stories is like, oh, it's happening.
I know, right? It was like Eclipse Part 2 almost, because everyone had the same kind of experience in a way, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
And I was, you know what, I was kind of bummed. So I kind of know, I understand for some of the people who yet haven't seen the Northern Lights, and you see
yeah.
all this, you're just kind of like, man, when's going to be my time?
Oh, your time is coming. We
It's how I
swear.
during the solar eclipse, really, because I didn't go out, I didn't shoot it. It got
Yeah.
really dark here in Barrie for a bit, and I think
Yeah.
I was just waking up from a nap thinking, it's pretty
Yeah.
dark.
Yeah. What's going on here? Something going on today, or interesting.
Yeah.
Um, did you try haggis when you were in Scotland?
I did. Yeah, I did. You know what? It's
Verdict?
really good. Like you know what? I think it's similar to just like kind of like a ground beef, somewhat like the taste. That's
Is that
probably
right, David? Is that right, David?
I might I might be
Well, that's
not
David.
intelligence here. He says, no, this is
Yeah.
exquisite gourmet items here. Yeah.
And that was your first time in Scotland, or
My first time ever visiting the UK, yeah,
okay,
Scotland.
cool.
I've been to Europe once. I've been to Netherlands. That was kind of before I got into doing photography.
Yeah.
And this trip was like much needed.
Right.
For those like who don't know, but might have said it on the other podcast, I run a business of I'm a Finnish carpenter. I built stairs and railings, so kind of another creative outlet. Really enjoy it, but I feel like I really needed that break. I was so busy through August. I like had a bit of a breakdown. I wasn't shooting enough photos. I said like, man, I'm not really, getting into what it is that I like doing, what I really love to do. I love my job. But it's also nice to take a break and kind
Of
of
course.
have that creative outlet.
Yeah.
So really wanted to get to this trip and
Yeah.
blast. By the time it came, it was like it's finally here. For those who did go, they know it was an awesome time. There's about 50 people at this wedding. It was
Nice.
connecting with old friends from high school, and
Cool, man.
everybody kind of did all like similar things, but just kind of in their own pace. Because we kind of went ahead of some people, so we got to go out to the Highlands, Glencoe specifically, Fort William, just a little bit beyond that was Glenfinnan, the Glenfinnan Viaduct for the Harry
Yeah.
Potter fans. That was really cool. It's just an amazing. Yeah, and you know what? For those who, so it's kind of funny too because this trip, I said I'm going to shoot as much landscape as I can.
Yeah.
So much landscape. I'm so used to doing everything for Instagram and putting it vertically. And I said, you know what? This is going to be footage that I want for a lifetime, that I want to put on my TV, that I want for other projects. So it was really cool because it made me actually like turn my camera back the way it originally goes.
What really? What does that feel like?
Yeah. So it just kind of felt weird to just turn it
Yeah.
and oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
friend who got married, actually, when I got out there, he says, "I hope you brought your wide lens, your wide angle." And like me, Paul, like I've had that 70 to 350 millimeter on my camera since the day I got it. A lot of my shots, I get very zoomed in, I get like as much compression as I can. And he said that, and I kind of laughed. And I don't think that wide angle ever left my camera
No kidding.
that trip.
What a country.
So
That's
cool.
cool. Cool
Yeah.
footage though, man. That's like it's like stock almost. Like you can just use it if you ever need like a train shot.
It was, you know what? We started to drive up to this viaduct. This train
Yeah.
was actually kind of traveling along the tracks like next
Crazy.
to us while we were in the car, and we
Yeah.
got up to, I think we were about like a mile away or a mile and a half away from the Glenfinnan viaduct, and there's cars parking and people
No
people
kidding.
walking, and we're like,
No kidding.
oh no.
Hey, boy. Everybody's gonna
So we actually drove past the viaducts. There's like a parking lot. It's a short walk from there, but we drove past it. And this is probably like 2-3 kilometers up the road or something like that, like just a few minutes. Not enough that you could walk to the viaduct and think I'll still catch the train. So I thought,
yeah.
okay, I'm just gonna like put the drone up and capture it here. So after this train went by, the Jacobite steam train, we did go park at, because that's when the parking lot clears out and like people they all want to see the train on the bridge, and I'm happy to just see the train and see the bridge.
Right.
Happy because I wanted to get that train with my drone. And when we got to the viaduct, there was a pole, there was like a post, like a wooden pole there, and it had shotgun shells and drones that had been shot out of the air.
My God, the sacrilege.
So I said, you know what? There's no chance that I'm putting my drone up, especially like second day into this trip. Like I'm not risking it if someone's gonna shoot this thing down. So
is there someone really there just waiting for a drone to go up?
you know what? Like maybe like I came across a YouTube video where like it says there was a sign, you call this number and this guy gives you a card and says like, if anyone gives you trouble, you tell them so and so said it's okay. But I never saw that sign. I just saw the drone graveyard nailed to the pole. So
that's crazy.
Still happy to get pictures. Like you climb up on the hill, you get some wicked shots from it, from up there of it. So and just
it's such an iconic like location, right? For people.
It is, yeah.
It's so iconic for people.
A lot of people go there every day to see this thing, you know, go by. So yeah.
Yeah, and what timing you had that it actually did go by?
I think so. Everyone tries to capture it when it's traveling west. Because that shot on the thumbnail there, that's like that's facing east. So when it's traveling west, like it turns that bend and you see it from the front with the steam. Right. So I think it comes by like, I think it's like it comes by twice a day. It comes by at like 10 o'clock and 4 o'clock or something.
Still, what timing for you guys though?
It's online. So if anyone's going to Scotland and is a Harry Potter fan, just go online. I watched a ton of YouTube videos and yeah, that's kind of how I found out about it. And
cool, man.
Yeah.
And you guys are into Harry Potter, or you guys just went there for like the actual like?
Yeah. My better half watches it every year, this time of year actually. So is it going to be any different now when that scene pops up? It's kind of like we've been there.
Yeah, exactly. Here, use my footage. Looks better than yours.
yeah. No, it's my footage.
I got your footage. Yeah.
I might try and slip it in or something.
Slip it in. Yeah, why not? Right?
Yeah.
Cool, man.
It's cool. My mom used to read the story to me when I was young. My mom is from England. She's from Birmingham. So she'd always read it to me in an English accent, and I just loved it. I think I would have been in grade like 2 or 3 when that first book came out. Still remember it. So
yeah. Because like, when did Harry Potter start? Like a while ago.
I want to say it started in late 90s, maybe.
Let's Google it.
Because when you watch the movies, you see the quality get better.
I know, right?
Like now you really notice it when you go and you put on the first one. You're just kind of like, when was this film?
Yeah, it's at 720p.
Yeah.
It's
got to be in the 90s.
Publication date June 26, 1997.
97. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so totally, like, you know what, like those movies from the late 90s, they have a different feel from, you know, nowadays where like everything is shot
right,
super resolution. Nothing is seen below 4K on the big screens. Like,
imagine. I know, right? Different time.
Yeah.
Different time.
Yeah.
I just googled how much Harry Potter has. Worldwide box office revenue for Harry Potter. Well, that's trying to do it. Okay, it's saying 7.7 billion.
Yeah, it's huge.
Billion.
People go to this site every day, and they fill the parking lot every day, and not just the parking lot. They park down the road, like miles away, and still walk. you know?
Yeah. And
Mhm.
plus the actual, like, location is nice too. It's not just a random train track, like, the
No, it's
location is,
not,
like,
it's
really
not.
nice.
Yeah, I found that in
Yeah.
Scotland, I really wish, like, it was kinda more like that in Canada. I don't feel like it is, but it's just kinda like
No.
there's viewpoints right on the
Yeah.
side of the road. So you can turn off to, like, a small parking lot, and there's, like, a spectacular viewpoint,
Yeah, for sure, man.
you know? Like, this
For
was I
sure.
think the parking lot was, like, it was just a turn off of the road, and then I think the walk up there was maybe, like, 10 minutes.
Okay, not bad.
No, that one is very, very doable. So people who like aren't into hiking, you're still gonna get like awesome viewpoints. Like I know there's, the long day trek of doing Ben Nevis, or for those who have
Yeah.
made it up to Isle of Skye. I really did want
Mm.
to go there, but didn't want to push the trip to feel like
Yeah.
rushing through everything.
Right. I
You
always
know,
say less is more too.
yeah, you really get to
Like,
have a moment and
you
like
need
take it,
less, do less.
enjoy it at
Yeah,
your pace. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. Gives me a reason to go back.
You need a reason to go back? You don't need a reason to go back. You can go see David, he's a carpenter too.
Perfect. You know what?
He's a
Let's get some
joiner,
work
he's a
done.
joiner. He's a
Let's sell
joiner.
some
Maybe you
scare
guys can, like,
codes
start a
over there.
business.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Start the
think they have
UK
different
division.
scare codes over there, and I think they have a different code there than we have here in Ontario.
Maybe,
That's
eh?
for sure. Tons of
Yeah.
steps. Like our step count, maybe like 22,000 a day when we were in Edinburgh. Walked
Solid.
everywhere, like
Solid.
sore by the time I got home.
Gotta do it. It's a great
Yeah.
city though. I really like Edinburgh.
Yeah,
I
it's
like it a
very
lot.
cool. I didn't realize it was like so hilly,
Yeah.
so like elevated steps. You're kind of walking along the sidewalk, and then you're like realize you're on a bridge like 5 stories up. Super cool. Yeah,
Yeah. I like
yeah,
this too. It's like a little tourism promo.
yeah. You know what? I've been learning about in camera transitions and just trying to like exercise that a bit. Obviously, this trip got me excited, so that was kind of the thing that I
Yeah.
started to YouTube before. So
Mm,
that transition from the bus to like the cyclist. I
right.
probably that's probably my favorite part of it all. So yeah.
And for, like, the people that don't know, what's an in-camera transition?
So in camera transition is
Mm,
basically just like a cut that's going to take you from one scene to another and kind of like
mm.
do it intentionally. So we all see these things on whatever you use, CapCut, Premiere, DaVinci,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
it's like swipe left, swipe right. So basically, you want to have the camera movement where you're kind of swinging with something. In that case, it was a bus turning a corner, so I kind of followed that.
Yeah.
And then down in Dean Village, super super cool village in Edinburgh, super spectacular for photography. Just
Yeah.
kind of caught a cyclist going by and used the street post, like the lamp post,
Nice.
kind of.
Nice. You're working, man. You're working.
Yeah, yeah, I'm figuring it out. Trying to do
You're
more
working.
big pictures, man. I found the
Yeah.
record button, so yeah,
Yeah, man. It's good though. At least you're, like, thinking about, like, the actual, like, video and not just, like,
yeah,
taking
yeah.
random.
It's a lot of people who photographers who just fall in love with photography, but then they
Yeah.
start to some get into film, some get into video, some get into drones and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you're into doing things like video as well, I strongly recommend looking up something like in-camera transitions.
Yeah.
I watched, I think it was Jesse Driftwood, and
Yeah.
he's awesome at it. He's
Yeah.
super good, and just like the way that it comes together, spectacular.
Plus it makes, like, the post so much easier.
It does. It does. Like trying to find the right transition. You're just kind of like
It's not
it's
fun
already been
when
taken care of.
you gotta make sure the shots match up, or else it's not gonna be fun in post because
Exactly.
it's not
Yeah.
gonna look good. It's not gonna look, like, clean.
Yeah. Yeah. Or it's just once
Uh,
you do actually do it and like pull it off, you're just kind of like, that's so cool. Like you don't. It's
yeah.
kind of a little bit mind bending, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, like you were saying last time you were on, it's like it's all about the details, right? Like, just pay attention to the details and just kinda, like, just take, like, the next step and just putting more effort into your stuff, and that's just one example of that,
Yeah, I
you
think
know?
being curious, really, just being curious
Yeah.
when you start to like YouTube or find some inspiration, maybe on Instagram or online or something, and just being curious about it and saying, okay, well, how did he do that?
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Like, and if you don't know, just ask.
Yeah, someone. Someone's done it.
Someone knows. Like,
Yeah.
it's, I mean, you never know. Like, to me, it's like you should even like did you tag like the tourism board on that, or
No, I didn't. No, I
really? Never
didn't.
know, man.
I
You
think I
never
just
know.
tagged like a few pages, like Scotland Explorer, some things like
Oh,
that. I don't really know the
okay.
pages to tag, but
Yeah.
you know what? I think this was kind of like for my own for my own enjoyment.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't really, care for a reshare as much.
Yeah.
I was just so fulfilled from this trip, really.
Yeah, man.
Uh,
It was a recharge.
it was a recharge and
Yeah.
reigniting, I think too. Reigniting and just kind of
Mm,
getting that passion back. Like I said, felt like I was kind of worked into the ground and have enough time with the camera in my hand.
yeah.
And this was a time when I couldn't put the camera down. So
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, I think we all go through that in terms of like work stuff or life stuff. Life just gets in the way of whatever, right? That's just life in a nutshell. But
yeah,
I think it's important just to like find ways to get back to it, or otherwise it's very easy to like lose the spark if you kind of let something go for like a long period of time, like 6 months, a year, 18 months. Like
it's tough.
it's
Yeah.
tough, right? Because like life doesn't get any slower, so there has to be some sort of like discipline or routine or like some sort of thing that kind of just at least gets you going for at least half an hour or something.
Yeah, motivated. Yeah, for sure. You kind of think back to like the time that you've been shooting whatever you've been shooting on and that you've been shooting and you kind of think back to like when you're really motivated and really had like a
Yeah.
passion ignited in you. You're just kind of like, man, I wish that was a switch I could just flick on
Yeah.
today.
Yeah, it's not easy, right? Especially when like social media and everything, and like everyone's trying to like get their likes and everything, which is fine. We're all trying to do that, but I mean, when that's not happening, when you're not getting that social validation, it's tough to like pick it up again because you're kind of like in the back of your mind, it's like, well, what's the point? no one's
Yeah,
gonna
yeah, you
no,
work
no, no
so
one's gonna
hard.
see
Like,
this.
that's it. You'll like work 4 hours on putting a reel together and
Yeah,
like, post it. You're just kind
like okay,
of, what the heck?
what's going on?
And then on the same, on the same week, you could just post like a short little 7-second clip that you're like,
Happens all the time, man.
everyone loves it.
It happens all the time. I think for a lot of people, the things that you spend the least time on do the best.
Isn't it
But
fun?
there's a reason for that because there's no emotion tied to it. Like
Yeah,
you don't have any emotion tied to something that you worked 10 minutes on.
yeah,
You just made something quick and uploaded, and then but the thing that you spend like hours on, there's a little bit of emotion tied to it.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's
yeah.
why you have that like discrepancy
Hmm. Hmm.
because you have some like emotion there, but
Yeah, yeah.
you
It's
know what I
it's
mean?
really nice, and I try and do it myself when I jump on and jump into people's comments, but just trying to be specific in what it is that I liked.
Yeah.
Whether that's just simply like the contrast or like a color that really like pops when all the others are muted and something like that. Because if you did that yourself and someone caught on to it, you're kind of like, okay, someone is
Someone's
someone
paying attention.
someone knows
Someone's
what work that
someone's
is.
paying attention.
Yeah,
Well, I think the fact that you highlight what you see, I think also like educates other people too.
yeah,
Because that person may not even realize what you just said.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah,
didn't think about it this way.
so many elements to a photo. Like even when I'm kind of going through all the photos that I take on these trips or even with those northern lights, I think the
Yeah.
first thing I look for is like the composition.
Mm,
And then once I kind of like flag and tag all the ones that I really like the composition, that's when I start to invest the time into the edit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. I was down the Dean Village in Tucson. I did a wedding with the crags behind. I went to the village. Let's spend more time there.
It's
Shout
such a
out.
it's such a cool village. So the last
Yeah.
time I was in Scotland, my friend who got married, him and I we met up for a photo walk.
Dope.
He's a wicked photographer. He doesn't like to admit it, but he is.
What's his Instagram?
It is Jolian Young,
Julian with JU?
Jolian.
Oh, yeah. I found him.
Yeah, so we met up for a photo walk, and it was cool because he's like, I'm gonna show you some places. Yeah, so this is So that was when we went to the village up on the top. But it was so cool because we kind of got to walk through this place that like I'd never,
Cool.
never even knew about.
Yeah.
Really, it's really like just spectacular village. But we stopped at a pubs. This one pub was like totally like, if you were not a local, like you were not going to this pub because it was like down an alleyway, down a next alleyway, and you didn't see anybody walking there for like 5 minutes, you know? And then you just walk in and it's all these old guys and they're all just their Guinness and they're
and they're looking at you going, "Who's this dude?"
yeah.
Who's this guy walking right in?
Yeah. But luckily my friend lives there, so you know he's local. So
you had the hall pass,
Yeah, so to Dean Village and Circus Lane as well. Really known photograph spot as well in Dean Village. Wow. So really cool. Yeah, he's just a really good artist overall. He's actually he's a animator. Actually works for a animation, but all these drawings are his as well.
No way, really?
Sketches all these.
Wow,
super cool photos. So he's definitely like he's got to be the most creative friend that I have. He's just so good across many things. So I just want to give Jolie a shout out and
shout out Julian.
Thanks for having us over there.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he was glad when everyone went home because it's well, I mean, it's you know, it's kind of like when family overstays their welcome.
Yeah.
After Christmas, like okay, everybody out.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, you just came like over the ocean. So
exactly. So, but I'm glad because we got that time in where we just kind of for 2 hours took photos.
Nice.
Really good time. Really good.
Well, that's what it's about, right? Just the friendship, and you see like different spots, different places that you would never even know to go to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, friends who kind of help you with pushing your own creative boundaries and
100%
makes it easy to like, get together and do fun things with like that.
Yeah, of course. I'm just saying last week, it's like energy, right? Like when you're out with someone that's not a photographer, it's tough to get the energy because that person's not into whatever it is you're doing. So it's tougher to get the energy. But when you're with someone like-minded, you can feed off everyone, like off that person's energy.
Yeah, I was thinking on this trip because a few of us that were thinking about planning of doing some of these things together, but then I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, everyone's gonna come to these view spots and be like, yeah, that's gorgeous. Let's go on. I'm just kind of like, oh, I'm just setting up the spot over here.
It's tough. It's a tough spot. It's tough because what are you gonna do?
Right? Guys. Yeah. Gotta get my camera settings dialed in.
I would love to just go out and take pictures, but I work in press photography more these days. Not much fun, but lots of work. Yeah. What kind of press? Like what kind of? I didn't know that you worked in press photography, David. I've talked to you so many times. I didn't know that.
Man of many trades.
You should come on the podcast, David. By the way, I don't know if I've asked you before, but anyway. So what was the best thing about Scotland, man? In your opinion?
I think the best thing I think is probably just the mix of like kind of the city of Edinburgh. I didn't get to Glasgow. I heard it's really cool.
Yeah. It's not as cool as Edinburgh, though. My opinion.
A mix of like the city, but also the countryside. We got a car and drove out. So, like I said, Glasgow, Fort William area. That drive out there. A few of us on that trip did it. It's just like God's kingdom. Like it's like there's like an aura and like an angel that sings as you're like driving this highway, cell phone service, and you're like, don't need it.
Don't need it.
Don't need it.
Yeah, for sure, man.
I think the mix of those. So because it's neat to kind of get those urban shots and obviously a lot of like churches, cathedrals, like things like that, the streets, the cobblestone, just all the architecture and buildings. But then also like it's a 2-hour drive and you're just in like, I didn't realize I thought the Highlands was going to be like hills.
Yeah.
It's mountainous. Like,
That's cool out there though, eh?
It's really, really cool. I really enjoy the pace of those like trips to Europe, or like it would go back to the UK. I think I enjoyed like laying on a beach, but maybe for like 5 days, and the camera doesn't really go far on those beaches,
Yeah.
You can only take so many pictures of that same sandy beach and sunset.
Yeah, it's a tough spot to be in sometimes.
But I always just found like the culture is really rich. Like the people are super friendly. I got out. I was shooting one night, and I was a little bit weary because I didn't really know the dangers of the city or anything like that. Because it's it's like past 11. kind of
Right.
you don't know, and like super friendly because I'm like setting up my tripod and my camera, taking a shot of the Castle of Edinburgh, and these people kind of turn a corner. I kind of got caught off guard, and just the friendliest people,
Yeah.
locals.
It's nice, eh?
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, feels like a safe city. Feels like very friendly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good when it's good when you just feel at ease. It's just you kind of like enjoy the moment more, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Um, yeah, I like Scotland a lot, man. It was really a fun time. It was I like the UK in general too. So I don't know. I like it over there. But again, like we don't live there, so it's different. Like if we live there, it might be a different story. But
Yeah,
whenever you go somewhere new, it's like everything's like, same thing for people that come to Toronto, they see the CN Tower. It's like, oh, amazing. Okay. It's the same thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
We're just a little bit
it's
desensitized to
like,
it.
yeah, we get it. We get it. So like whenever you go somewhere, it's like new and fresh. So it's always cool to like see the city and that someone's new there because they see the place in a totally different lens. Because
Mhm.
we get so like, just not bored, but we're just like, yeah, we know, we get it. But we're not really actively seeking out shots sometimes because we live here.
Yeah,
Meanwhile, there could be some really great stuff.
yeah.
You just
Oh,
gotta like look around.
yeah. Oh, for sure,
You
for
know,
sure. Yeah, yeah. I really wanted to.
you guys also like we're gonna do a swap, David. We're gonna do like a photography
Yeah, yeah.
residency. We're gonna do like a photography
We're gonna make it.
residency,
We're
and
gonna
we're
make
gonna
it.
swap
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
summertime.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd really like to. I'd really like to go back. There's like a few places that I have on my bucket list. Like always wanted to visit Japan. Always wanted to go to
yeah,
Iceland. So I
yeah.
really want to go to Iceland.
It's
Norway.
short flight, 5 hour flight from here, man.
Really? Eh?
It's quick to Iceland.
Oh,
Yeah,
don't tempt me.
it's quick.
It's quite.
The only thing is that like because I flew WoW Air and WoW Air was super cheap. It was like $500 to go to Iceland return, but WoW Air ceased operations.
Oh
So now
wow.
you gotta fly Iceland Air, which is a little bit more expensive. But
And that's the only airline, eh? Like,
yeah,
yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah. Scotland wasn't really on my bucket list, and it's kind of the way this all unfolded. I'm super glad because it should have been, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it just comes down to like, as usual, just like time, resources, like you know, um, if you can do it, do it. That's what I say. If you can do it, do it. Like, because you never know like what's gonna happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Whenever, whatever. So
Yeah.
it's just one of those things. Like my parents just went to like Los Angeles like last week, so they're going on this like cruise thing. So I'm not really into cruises though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not really into cruises. Not really
Especially
my.
on the land.
Yeah, it's just like well, because you have so much like you only have like so much time at the port.
Yeah,
I feel
right.
stressed on a cruise because you have like 6 hours to see a city.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people do this. They hop on and then it's like hop off and you like get off and you go explore the city a bit and then you got
Yeah,
to get back on, right?
I don't know. It just feels like very stressful to me.
I like spending my time. I like finding a coffee shop. I
Yeah,
like, like having nothing to do for the afternoon and trying to find something to do, you know?
yeah. I just wander, man. That's what I
Yeah.
do. I just get lost.
Actually, you know what? That's it. That's the perfect word for it. And Edinburgh is the perfect city to
It
get lost.
is. It
It's
is.
so cool. It's so cool.
It's
Yeah.
great. It doesn't get much. I can't really try. I'm looking after. Okay, well, all the best with your mom and dad. All the best there,
Yeah.
David.
Best. Yeah. All the best.
Um, so what was one thing that like surprised you about Scotland? Anything surprised you that you weren't really expecting?
Well, the haggis was surprisingly good. The Highlands were more mountainous than I had pictured, I guess. I think it was a chance for me to really like learn more about. I'm telling you, I've never seen Braveheart, and then
Oh, really?
I'd never seen
You
it.
should have watched it on the plane, man.
I should have, but then after I went, then I really wanted to see it. I really
Yeah.
wanted to
No.
see it,
Okay. Well, you
and
got to see it.
I did. I did. I watched it when I got home, and
Oh, you did.
it was so freaking cool. Yeah.
Wow.
So now I'm kind
Great.
of like, oh, should I have gone to see the, Sterling and the William Wallace
Yeah. Well,
monuments and stuff like
maybe
that?
next time. Maybe next time.
It's just that history that they have, like those medieval times. It's just so fascinating.
Yes. And it's
It's
not the it's not the medieval times in Toronto. It's like actual medieval times.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
There's no like Coke with this.
No. I found it so interesting, and obviously once we went to a museum, we kind of went through there and stuff, and the medieval stuff is really like fascinating, because before the Renaissance era, this is what it was, and it was pretty cutthroat. It was pretty
literally, yes, cutthroat.
Yeah,
Front page news.
literally.
Front page news. Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah, man. So like have you posted all your photos, or are you still kind of going through them?
I have no, there's a few, and like I said, like I've kind of flagged and tagged a few that I really like the composition because I get a ton of photos, and I kind of understand what everyone who's gotten into film is saying, where it makes you slow down, it makes you more intentional with your shots, because you get home and I've got like a full SD card, and it's just kind of like, okay, let's go through this now, and I usually start with the composition. Like before like cropping it or anything like that. But if I hit a photo that I really like the composition, then I'll invest time really into the edit. So I've got a few from the Three Sisters of Glencoe, that wee White House that I posted. That is probably one of my favorite photos, and just very different from what I usually post, I guess, or what I usually go for. I'm so used to like, muting the greens and like just desaturating them. And it's like, there's no need for that in Scotland. Like, you got to show off how lush the land really is.
You do.
So I've got a ton. I've got a ton. There's still more to come in posts on Instagram, but also some that I'm gonna also get do prints of as well.
Right. For you. So, dang.
Yeah, for me. Someone from the wedding had reached out for a print as well. Like I said, we all kind of like followed each other, met up at the wedding, kind of made new friends with the other side, with the bride side. So some super cool people, and we ended up all going to some super cool places. Like a lot of us went to Three Sisters Lookout, but we also did it at different times. So it's just neat to see, because like I said, we went before the wedding and kind of hit all those spots before the wedding. And when we're chatting with people, they're kind of like, okay, we're thinking of going to Inverness, we're thinking of going to, Glencoe. And it's just kind of like, don't miss Glencoe. For us, that was a real hit. We really like that. For those who made it, if anyone made it to Isle of Skye, then kudos to them, because that is a long way to go.
That's north, right?
Like that's even more so. Glencoe, Fort William and Glencoe area is kind of like the same region, I guess you would say, but it's like 2.5 to 3 hours outside of Edinburgh. And Isle of Skye is continue on like northwest from there. So volcanic rock formations. It would have been the perfect time to do it too, because like we had very little rain, and when it would rain, it would kind of just pass over and be sunny. That was
like a movie.
It is. Yeah, it is.
Basically.
Some of the shots that I took, it's like raining on one side, but like sunny on the other. So.
Oh, cool, man.
Wild
stuff.
Yeah.
Wild stuff. So like, what's your like tip for like composition? Like, do you have any secret tips that you want to share? Maybe don't.
Yeah. I mean, shoot a bunch and then kind of go through after. It always helps. It's nice to be intentional with your shot. It's nice to take a photo. There's one that I posted, and it's a drone shot of Ballachulish, it's called. I think that's how you pronounce it. But it's like Glencoe region, very, very small town. Sent the drone up like 120 meters, maybe a little higher. But then, I usually, like I said, I don't like to finish the foreground like with just the lake. I like to get something a little below that. So level, maybe, if I'm like trying to incorporate some of like the beach or the Pebbles beach or something like that. In this case, it was like a highway, and I usually try and cut out the man-made stuff. But that's the thing, like Scotland is, they build all of these places in like these spectacular, landscape regions. Like it's just neat to see this kind of like old Gothic church and these like creepy like headstones down at the bottom of it. So, I mean, you know what? I was a repeat offender of zooming in as much as possible.
Really?
Well, yeah, like, when I met up with you in February and we were shooting and stuff like that, I was always getting zoomed in. When I went to Costa Rica, I got very zoomed in. And even at West, I tried to zoom in on those mountaintops. And Brent had said, like, I hope you brought your wide angle. I said, oh, I won't need that. And so out there, and I thought, okay, it's time to switch it up. It's time to shoot a bit wider. It's time to like include some foreground, and I think that really changed like a lot of the composition and kind of shifted the vision a little bit, you know, which is nice because you kind of step out of your comfort zone, and I think that's where you really start to grow. So it's always nice to take a photo and, you know, you feel like you've got it, just have a look down your screen, press play, like just have a look at it and say, is there something I can do that would make this a little bit better? And that might just be like getting lower or backing up a bit or including some foreground or just including a little bit of headroom over the mountaintops. So it's nice to be intentional, have a moment, look at that picture, because once you get back to Lightroom, you know, I mean, sure, we can generative expand at this.
Sure.
But it feels much better once you kind of know and you take a step back or you crouch down a little bit lower and include that thing, because when you get it back and you go through your series of photos and you kind of see the first one you took and then the second one you took, so I'm glad that I changed that a little bit.
Yeah, but also you feel good that you did it, not like AI, because then you just feel like you just cheapened like the experience.
Yeah. I try not to use AI. It's really like helpful when you kind of want to like take some people out of a photo off in the distance or something like that. Expanding a sky is like okay, but by no means do I kind of want to like slam a rock in a little like river down below, although we have the power to now. Because it does, like some of these photos. There's one that I took of this Three Sisters of Glencoe lookout, and like when I see it, it's kind of like it brings you back to just the size and the magnitude and just kind of the viewpoint of like, wow. Like I remember that like it was yesterday, you know. Yeah, this is the one where, well, this is one of them where it's starting to rain like over as the clouds pass over the mountains, but the sun is like over on the right side there.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's funny because I was going to use AI, the generative fill, to just take out that little water spot on the left-hand side, and I actually really liked it because it kind of told the story of like my lens was wet, you know, like I had to kind of wipe it off a few times. This cloud was kind of moving over, so I waited it out a little bit. Like the, you know, maybe 7 or 8 photos I took before this, there was no like blue sky in the scene whatsoever.
Yeah.
Just kind of like was patient, waited it out. It was super windy that day too, so wet. Yeah. Cold hands seem to be the theme of a good picture for me lately.
Usually, yeah, it seems that way, eh?
Like, yeah, it means you're waiting for something, you know.
Someone's gonna buy you some gloves, man. Someone's gonna buy you some some camera gloves or something.
Anyone out there's listening, you know, I'll trade you.
I gotta send you a pair in or something. We can't lose you. We can't lose you.
I'll be out there a while. I'll be out there a long time.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
No, but it's a good point that you make with just being like intentional, like.
It's a lot of the people who've you know done film, and that's all what they say is like, maybe you should get into film, you know, like it does teach you a lot as a photographer, and I think what it teaches is patience and to do things with intention, and really if you can discipline yourself to do that with a digital camera, then you've learned a good asset, you know, because I think all those people who go and they shoot film, when they go back to digital, like they do become better photographers because of it. And I think I've heard this, that the pictures, just your pictures that you take, you have a higher yield of good pictures, you know?
Yeah. No, it's just because we're just so used to just like kind of shooting and then just like just moving on, but we don't really like look at what we've done.
Yeah.
We just shoot and then we just move on. So the fact that you can slow down and think about like what you actually did and then think about, okay, how can this like be done better? I think is a good question to ask yourself, because at least it makes you think
exactly
about what you just did and not like, okay, I'm on to the next thing. All right.
That's probably the best advice that I could give, is really like look at that picture when you're there at the spot. And if you think there's something you should have included or something that you think could just be a little bit better, and like I said, it could just be crouching a little bit lower, or you know, taking a step back, or just kind of getting a little bit wider, you know. Yeah,
it could be that simple. It could be that simple sometimes.
For me, I feel like it was like I was actually really proud of some of these shots because I finally took the telephoto off of the camera and you know shot as wide as I could, and I never really do that, so
love it. I'm glad that you did it, man. Okay, so we got to come back and meet David.
We're moving in.
On our way, David.
Going on an
He
excursion.
also has gloves for you.
Perfect.
This
Perfect.
guy's a hero. This guy's just saving our day right here.
Perfect.
David, you're a legend, man. I started shooting on film. I love using the 5x4. That really slows you down.
Yeah.
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 Interesting.
Like I said, these people who shoot on film, they know they pay for those roles and they have to be intentional with it. You don't just go and like, burst a ton of shots.
Yeah. You don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Well, kind of goes against like the grain of society these days, where it's just like constant motion, constant stimulation, constant.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no like, okay, we're stopping. We're to take a 5-minute breather.
Yeah, it's crazy. You look on people's like I don't know how many like photos you have in your Lightroom in your
Oh,
catalog.
I don't know. I've lost count.
It's a lot. It's got to be tens of thousands at this point, right?
Yeah.
I think that it's for me. I'm very selective on what I pick or what I post, or especially what I get printed.
Yeah.
And I think that I probably amounted somewhere around 30,000 photos. So
That's not terrible.
it's not terrible, right?
It's pretty reasonable, actually.
That's with some HDR in there. So there's some like
HDR. We all got the HDR catalog in there.
that boosts the count, right?
We all got the HDR catalog in there, man. We've all been.
That boosts it. Yeah, you
We've
got
all been
one
part of
shoot of
that.
HDR, then you're gonna boost it.
Oh man, it's kind of like I don't know. It's kind of like I don't know. It's like kind of like Varney France days or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's kind of like those days or something. Whatever. But cool, man. So now you're back. So like, do you have anything planned for like the rest of the year, for like photography wise?
Some of the fall colors. Like I was shooting some of the fall colors with my drone.
Is it good up there? Is it good?
You know what? It's very muted this year.
Yeah, that's what I heard, man.
It's very just yellowy, very yellowy.
Damn.
I read a headline that it could possibly have something to do with how kind of like warm of a fall.
I read that. Yes. Yeah, I read that. Yeah.
I don't know the scientifics of it, but what I do know is like I compare it to previous fall pictures that I've taken up in Haliburton region and in areas like that. But it seems like just a wall of like yellowy, orangey, very little reds. It's starting to pop a bit now, but the thing is once you get those like kind of that heavy rain in there and that wind, I think this weekend's going to go up to like 18 degrees.
It's going to be summer. It's going to be summer this weekend.
It's going to be summer again, right? So like, who knows what that's going to mean for it? But you kind of know like the clock is ticking in fall. Like it's like the shortest season, it seems, when those leaves like finally turn colors before they hit the ground. So you kind of have to like, boost your shutter count and
yeah, because it feels late because we're already mid-October.
Yeah.
And you're saying like the leaves aren't even all gone yet up there.
I feel like in previous years it peaks like at the very end of September. There's up in Haliburton region, they do a Color Fest studio tours. So all these people who have studios, pottery and things like that, do like a big thing where you kind of like go through and you tour the area and you see all the colors, you see all these studios. But this year it was just very green when that came around, and it's the time of my daughter's birthday, and it's always like a wicked time to get pictures of her on her birthday. Like the leaves are all changing, and this year was still so green. And Thanksgiving was colorful, but again, it just seemed very muted. It wasn't very like heavy pops of like red.
It sucks.
Yeah,
this is my favorite time of year.
Yeah, it's like we wait so long.
I wait like August. I'm so bored. I'm just waiting for fall to happen, and now it's like, oh, fall sucks too now.
I know. Come on. Yeah.
Now I gotta look forward to winter. Oh my god.
It's the saturation slider for us. Like,
everything's black and white. I'm going monochrome.
Yeah.
I'm changing my entire account. It's going monochrome.
Thing, right? Yeah. Just drop. Just mute everything except
everything's dropping.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy, man. I know. I was wondering how the fall was up there, but I guess not so much. But what are you gonna do?
And here in Barrie, it actually seems like a little bit more colorful than up there. Like I was noticing. Like, I don't know if it's just the trees, but there's definitely more pops of red because it's kind of like what I take notice to. I feel.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Cool, man. So what's like the big thing to shoot up in Barrie? If someone were to come to visit, where would you take them?
Barrie. You know what? This is an area that I have to explore more.
Okay.
I found some like just cool areas around my house. Like there's this cool
Oh
walk.
yeah.
There's this like cool walking trail. I want to say like Kempenfelt Bay is pretty cool. This year I shot some of the air show that went on. So
Okay, right on, right on. Yeah.
those F-18, I think, Hornets or something.
Oh
It was
yeah.
called. So it's like super loud and like super cool. That was actually pretty fun. A lot of people, I think, shot some of that, whatever city that they were in, because that air show goes around, and I think it's just
Look at that.
support for. Yeah, it was really cool. I mean, this is my first time at like aviation photography, so it was,
Really? Jeez.
yeah, it wasn't perfect, but it's
Pretty
a
good though.
hard thing to shoot. Like it flies by really quick, you know. 18 Hornet, that was it.
Shout out Tom Cruise for posing for you in that.
Oh, exactly, right? Like, come
Shout
on.
out to
Highway to
Tommy
the
boy.
Danger Zone is playing in the back of your head.
Right? You gotta play it. You gotta do it.
But they had cool, like they had I think it was called a Chinook helicopter. They had some other
Cool.
helicopters. They were doing some demonstrations, like just kind of in the Kempenfelt Bay, it's called. So Barrie is kind of in this bay, basically. It's like a very kind of long, it's like very long, and you can see the other side of it's not too far. There's a pretty nice beach down there as well. That's a popular spot. Like there's like a yacht club. I mean, there's not many yachts, more so boats, but like it is a big lake, so sometimes you do see some big ones out there. And just the activity on that water, like paddle boarders, boats, jet skiers, things like that. Yeah,
it's great for drones.
Actually, some cooler things, kind of like outside of it. Like I went and did apple picking for the first time, so an apple orchard, and we picked way too many apples. So for people who are going, like, don't pick as much as you think that you need.
How much did you pick?
There was 5 of us, and we picked 47 pounds of apples.
Really? How many apples is 47 pounds?
It's $110 worth.
Wow. Why'd you guys pick so many?
We brought it home and we made pie that very same day, and it was.
How many pies does that make?
Well, we were gonna keep it going all night.
Open up a bakery or something.
Yeah, exactly.
The Frybort bakery.
Exactly, but it's because when you were there, like you see, it is a bit of a photo op. People in the pumpkin patch, people in the apple orchard. Like it's a pretty cool spot. There's this place called Willow Creek just outside of Barrie where this railway kind of passes through. Really like tall, rusty bridge. I was with a friend who shot it with a drone, and this is before I had a drone, and I'm just kind of like drooling at like, you know, the RC watching his footage to like that was probably one of the convincing things as well. So there's some areas around it that are really nice. You know, Wasaga Beach areas, some places like that. So
yeah, because I don't think people really know Barrie sometimes. So
yeah,
it's good to kind of like point out, oh no, there's stuff to do here. There's stuff to see, you know, whatever.
I think for people who like to shoot street photography, like I think that Toronto is just way more loaded for things like that.
Well, it's just more populated too, no?
Populated, like culture. That's the pulse of the city is like nonstop, you know. Like, it never sleeps, and Barrie feels like kind of like between like a bit of a small town and like a city, you know. It kind of like a little bit of a small town feel, I guess I'm gonna say.
People like small towns.
Yeah, it's definitely I have 19 external drives there. He must shoot some HDR.
How big are the drives? So like 10 terabytes or?
Yeah, holy 10 terabytes.
My garden is a small orchard. I have 6 apple trees, 2 pear trees, and a plum tree. Well, how many pounds is that, David?
How many pounds is that, David?
We want pounds.
47 here.
We want pounds.
Yeah.
Well, you can probably make a pie out of that too, no? What's like your favorite pie? Is it apple?
My favorite pie.
Yeah, like is it apple pie?
Ooh, you know what? I never had pumpkin as a kid growing up. Like it wasn't like a thing for our family, and like it's right there, but like pecan pie has got to be like my top.
But pumpkin is good, man. Pumpkin pie is good.
It's underrated. And
I
think some people just haven't tried it because it's kind of like the idea of it's just like, well, it can't be as good as like it's rhubarb or pecan.
Well, just because usually you only have pumpkin pie like once or twice a year.
It's the fall feel though, right?
It's not the go-to in like the summertime.
This is what I said. Like when you have like the squash with the cinnamon dusting on top with like the Thanksgiving dinner, like that's the only meal it belongs.
Yeah,
to.
that's the
It's not
go-to.
go
That's
with
the go-to.
anything else.
Yeah.
But when it's there, like it tastes like fall. So yeah.
I love pumpkin pie. It's my favorite.
Yeah. Like I said,
Yeah, I
I
do.
never found out about it until I was maybe like, I don't know, like 25, and I finally first tried it. Like, oh my gosh.
Changes your life.
So I was like, Mom, how come we never had pumpkin pie growing up?
Right.
Oh,
Hey,
they
man.
didn't like it, so
It's good though.
yeah.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it.
Yeah.
Well, we're kind of up against the hour, man. So just want to say thanks again for coming back on and doing this thing.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Again,
Yeah.
it's always a blast, man. It's always a blast chatting with you.
Yeah, for sure. Any final words up there for the people?
For the people that missed the Northern Lights, your time
Yeah.
is coming. Your time is coming. I know it sucks. Like you might be jealous other people got to see it, but I'm telling you, like it's times like that where you miss it, that when you do finally see it, it's gonna taste that much sweeter. That much sweeter.
Wow, what a pitch. You sold me on that, man.
Yeah. So it's coming. It's gonna come. It's gonna come. So you gotta like be on top of it. You gotta follow the meteorologists, and they'll tell you. They'll give you a couple days in advance. Don't poke your head out. Like go for a walk down the street. Let your eyes adjust to the light a little bit, and you'll start to see it. Yeah.
We will get a message from David about the whole thing. Good chatting with David. All the best with your parents, eh? And hopefully see you back. And also, David, if you want to come on that podcast, let me know.
Come on, David. We need someone from Scotland.
I want to talk to someone from Scotland. That'd be great. Yeah. Okay, cool, man. Thanks again, Jesse, for coming on. His links are in the description of this podcast. And yeah, thanks for watching this, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks
Peace.
again.